We continue with our discussion on Infosys and its valuation, and we're trying to kind of arrive at what are the key drivers for Infosys and its numbers. We've already arrived at what is the average number of employees that are there. Just to understand this a little bit better, we can also look at how does the Infosys business work. Infosys has two business arms. One is called Consolidated IT Services, and the other is the BPO arm. And then there's a products arm as well that is there. Right now, these three put together give you the revenues, and some of the data that Infosys gives is only for these two sets, right? So we will have to make some assumptions in our understanding on the BPO data as we go along for putting in the utilization rates for numbers, right? For example, if we go to the Infosys fact sheet that we had seen, the fact sheet does give some sort of a utilization data. If you look at this page in the fact sheet that we had seen, it gives you utilization data, but the utilization data is only for consolidated IT services. It is not for the entire unit or entire set of employees. And you will note the final piece here, which is utilization including trainees, is about 75% here, and it was about 74.6% here. Now, the assumption we are going to make is that the same utilization will work across the firm. So we are going to use 74.6 and 75% as the utilization numbers, including trainees, because we are looking at all the employees who are getting billed there, right? Now, the other thing that happens in this set of employees is in the calculations that Infosys does, they remove a certain set of employees, which is the sales and support guys, right? So if we go back to the Infosys website and we click on reports and filings and we go down on this page, we will see a sheet called investor sheet. So profit and loss account, balance sheet, cash flow, operating metrics, segmental income, investor sheet. It's an Excel file. If you click on this Excel file, it'll open a sheet like this, right? And this sheet would have an index and you would have all the data actually available to you. So INR, IFRS, consolidated P&L, year-wise is actually available. We put in this number for our understanding, but all the data is actually available here. Consolidated balance sheet, all the data is actually available here, right? But anyway, we simplified it and we worked on that. We're now looking at operating metrics. When you click on operating metrics, you see the total number of employees are available here. When you look at this, they have given the breakup of 2 or 3 things. So when we look at the previous year, you find this 194,044 number is what we just plugged in, right? This is the total employees of consolidated firm. When you look at IT services and consulting, that's 151 out of those. Then you have BPO, which is 32,311. And then you have support and sales, which is 9811. The sum of these three, you will note here, is 194,044, which is the total number of employees, right? So it's important for us to find out the sales and support guys. This is the data we need. And why do we need this data? Is because Infosys does not use this data in calculating its utilization rates, right? Because these guys are never going to get billed. So there is no point in calculating the utilization rate on these guys, right? So what do? We just paste the values of these people. What are these people? These are the sales and support guys or employees, right? Now, we can just rewrite this here, average number of sales and support employees. And can I find out the average? That's basically the average of these two, correct? And I can drag it on the left side. And I can ignore this error. We can also find out sales and support as percentage of total employees. Can we find it out? So 7360 divided by this number, and I can drag it here and we can calculate the percentages. So approximately about 4.5% of their employee force or workforce is sales and support guys. The remaining ones are getting billed, right? So I can now introduce a row which says what is the reported utilization number. So we can put in a number called the utilization reported, and this number was 75% this year, 74.6% the last year. Where do we get data earlier than this, right? So where can we get the data earlier than this? So this data was available in the fact sheet. So all I need to do is go back to the previous fact sheets, right? So I can actually go to, or also this data should probably be available here as well. In terms of my utilization measures, you see this IT services and consulting and the total firm-wide data plus product, that's available here as well. So 68.9, 69, 68 and 73.7, that's the total number of employees that are there. So that's the data point available with us. We can work around with this data and try and project it based on that, assuming that rest of the guys also are working at the same utilization levels, right? So 66.9, 67%, 72.3%. I'm going to use this data here. And sorry, I think we have copied a bigger cell here. We need to only copy these three and plug them in here. Let's plug, because I think there they are giving quarterly data as well, which is hidden here in these, and that's why copying is not working. We just need to put in 67% here, and we need to put in 72.3% here, right? So that gives us the overall data set in terms of what is the utilization rate for the IT services, consolidated IT services. We are assuming that this is the same firm-wide, right? So average number of employees billed is 67% multiplied by total number of employees minus the sales and support guys, right? We'll repeat it. What we are saying is that average number of employees billed is the utilization rate multiplied by employees who can get billed, right? Which means the sales and support guys are never getting billed. We just need to figure out the difference between total employees and sales and support guys on average, right? So we get this number. We don't need the decimal points. So about 97,000 employees are getting billed here, and 119,000 employees are getting billed here. 132,000 employees are getting billed here. That's the average number of employees who are getting billed for Infosys, right? Can I find out the number of hours billed? That's approximately 250. So that's approximately 250 days in the year, 8 hours in the year, 8.
Podcast is now starting.
So the number of hours billed during the year are 2000. And how do we get that? 250 average days during the year and 8 hours per day. That gives us this value. Now, can I calculate the billing rate? So we are working on the revenue drivers here now, and we're trying to find out what is the total revenue, and the revenue number is available on the P&L. So I can plug this here, and because we have average data only post 2013, we'll plug in only that data. This is in INR crore, right? Can I find out what is the average billing rate? This multiplied by this multiplied by the average billing rate should give me the 40,000 crore number. In other words, if I divide 40,000 crore by the number of employees billed, I should get this data, right? So what we are saying is that the equation that comes would suggest something like, so 2000 hours per year. Now let's look at the revenue drivers for the firm. We can plug in the revenue numbers from the P&L sheet 2013 onwards. So I can plug in these numbers and we get these numbers here. Can I find the billing rate per hour in INR? Remember, the revenue is in INR crores, right? So when I have to find the billing rate per hour, remember our calculation of billing rate is average number of employees billed multiplied by the number of hours billed multiplied by the billing rate should give me the revenue. In other words, if I convert the revenue into rupees by multiplying by 10 raised to power 7 and divide it by average number of employees billed multiplied by the number of hours, I should get the billing rate per hour and I can drag it on subsequent numbers, right? So what are we saying? We are saying that employees billed multiplied by billing rate multiplied by hours should give me the revenue. Now all I need to do is take the employees billed and hours on the denominator and divide to get the billing rate data. That's what we have done. That's what we have done for this particular data set, right? That's the billing rate per hour we get. But this is in INR. And remember, Infi is an export firm. We also want to find out what is the billing rate per hour in USD terms, in dollar terms. To find that out, we need average INR USD rates during the year. Where do we get this? Once again, the fact sheet of Infosys comes to our rescue. So when we go further in this fact sheet, somewhere in the fact sheet they would have given what is the rupee dollar rate year ended and period average. We want the period average rate because we are using average calculations. So this year it was 65.69, last year was 61.18, right? So we can put in the number as 65.69 and last year was 61.18. And the years before that, can we get the rupee dollar rate for the years before that? So we can go to 2014 results, Q4 results, click on the fact sheet there. If we click on the fact sheet there, the fact sheet on one of the pages would basically report the closing rates here as well. So 60.75 and 54.54, 60.75 and 54.54 are the rates we get for the rupee dollar. Now can I find the billing rate per hour in terms of USD? I can just divide it with the INR USD rate, and that's my billing rate per hour in dollar terms for the 4 years. And we will note that the billing rate per hour has actually gone down, right? Now that's interesting because then while the billing rate per hour in rupee terms seems to be going up, it seems to be going up from 2000 to 2300, it seems to be now going down in dollar terms. So all the benefit that is appearing in rupee terms is only appearing because of the average INR USD rates moving ahead. In other words, I can put a growth in billing rates in USD terms because that's where they're going to kind of deal with, and I can find the growth as this, and we find that billing rates are under pressure. Percentage change is lower, right? And we can put aside this number here and These numbers basically can be italicized. I can italicize it because that's a growth number. So we basically have the billing rate data available with us now, which showcases or tells us that the billing rates for this particular firm in the last few years are under pressure, which highlight a little bit of deteriorating industry environment for the firm, right? So that's an interesting insight that we get. On average, they charge about $35 per hour per employee. The function next year onwards, therefore in projection, is how many employees are getting billed and what is the growth rate in billing rates and what is the INR USD rate average. And based on these three calculations, we should be able to arrive at the revenue number for next year. So technically, the revenue drivers have been projected in this particular model in our understanding, right? So that's where we'll end this particular section. Our subsequent section will start talking about the cost drivers. Thank you.